I scream, you scream, we all scream. We all love a good scary story, so when we asked around to see if we knew anyone with real-life spooky experiences, we weren't disappointed one bit. Enjoy our collection of ghost stories if you are brave enough to watch on. An image number 1. For anyone with loud upstairs neighbors. My sister and I were staying at an old, historic hotel in middle of nowhere, Montana. The building had been in use since the 1800s. My sister loves this place and has frequented it many times over the years. I was kept up all night by someone pacing around on the hardwood floors in the room above ours. Drove me crazy. In the morning, I asked my sister how she could sleep through it, and she told me that the upstairs of the building used to be a ballroom, but now it's carpeted and empty. The hotel staff confirmed that nobody was up there, and furthermore, if they were, I wouldn't have heard heels on hardwood floor. Then who made that sounds? An image 2. That's right. I was at a slumber party in 8th grade with a few of my friends when we decided, stupidly, to have a seance in her unfinished basement. We were having fun and giggling as we were trying to figure out who to summon when someone suggested Jack the Ripper, a serial killer from the late 1800s, and I immediately got a pit in my stomach. No, I spoke up, we shouldn't summon something evil. That's right, called a man's voice from the other side of the cellar. There were no boys or men there, we were home alone. Another girl and myself heard it. I'll never be the same. Then who made that sounds? Three. Demon in the dark. My family traveled to the south of France to stay in a cottage owned by someone my dad worked with. The owners visited occasionally, but that summer it was free and we had 10 days booked in there. After a long 2 days on the road, we drove down a steep driveway towards a secluded mill cottage, with the water wheel sat static alongside the stone house. There was a deep cellar with stone stairs down under the wheel next to the house, and a small river circled the place. We went into the house and chose rooms, but being set down in a small copse, the house was draught and cold from lack of use. We settled in and turned all of the heating on, yet the house remained cold and felt damp. The first night we had set a fire in the living room and listened to a couple of audiobooks before my sister and I went to sleep. My parents stayed up a little longer, then went to bed. Around midnight they both woke up at exactly the same time, and the door to their bedroom was opening slowly. At first they thought it was my sister until they saw a large dark silhouette of a man framed in the doorway, standing stock still, just looking in their direction as if appraising them. After a short period, the shape turned and started to move, as if satisfied, and disappeared. They looked at each other, but didn't speak, and both went back to sleep. The next morning the house felt warm and dry, and sunlight was back through the windows, as if something had lifted and accepted them. They spoke the next day and both agreed that although they were skeptics, it could not have been anything other than something supernatural in that doorway, deciding their worth. Four. Full heart, wet hands. So I used to live at this address, XXXXXX. The houses were built to house the people building the railway in Derby in the 1800s. I only found this out after I left the house. Thankfully, it was a creepy house, really foreboding, and every time I washed my hair in the shower, every time I opened my eyes, I expected something to be there anyway. I came back from an afternoon lecture one afternoon, opened the door, walked up the first flight of stairs and saw a wet handprint on the floor, a really wet handprint. I was a bit like very strange at that moment, but I didn't freak out. It was just out the ordinary, so I walked up to see my housemate, Ed. I opened the door and he was on the phone to his girlfriend, not crying but massively in distress. That was when the penny dropped. He then told me that as he was walking up the stairs earlier carrying a glass of water, he felt something cold go through him, almost a push, causing him to drop the water. He picked up the glass and ran upstairs to his room. The water falling out the glass had created a handprint on the floor. Literally, a handprint. Every digit was in proportion. I did freak out at that moment as I'd put 2 and 2 together. I told everyone to get out the house, which we did, but then sheepishly returned after a FIFA session around another friend's house. It was genuinely terrifying. Might not sound it, but it was haha. And all true. Then. Whose handprint it is? This is just a beginning. Second part is coming soon. Comment down below. Which incident most scared you? Like this video and share with your friends. Subscribe to ASB channel for more videos.